Day 35. Beautiful. Usually I did it now on like last weeks I did on Fridays. Now I'm back to Thursdays. Like I said earlier, I just want to record at least once a week, so the day doesn't really matter. So it feels good to just kind of like think about, okay, now is a good time to record just ahead of time. Not because I know in the future will happen. Like if you set out to Friday, then something happens on Friday, and then you're like, oh, this week I wasn't able to do so. So it's good to just plan ahead, start it whenever you can, so actually gets done. That I've seen is sometimes a problem. Um, this video is not. I don't have so much. I would say interesting things to say, so it's more like a tracking what's going on video rather than so much interesting topics that I've seen this week. But in general, what I do see, which is interesting in business in general, is like how everything goes step by step. It sounds simple, but it's so interesting how, especially when you start out and you then compare, let's say, to people who've done it for a few years, you're like, oh, they have everything in place. But then if you think back on the day started and then when they started, they were also like beginners. And then after time, like every day, every month, they just build upon what they have, build upon their processes, their business, their clients, more clients. So it's interesting to think about that. Often I, of course, don't always think about that because it's very easy to compare and it's such a bad thing to do. But that's always good to, in that case, be like, okay, how long have they been working on this kind of funnel, or how long have they been working on this brand or process? Um, Especially now, it's easy to see with Agape, as in, oh yeah, this brand has 300K followers. And you're like, oof. But then you have to think about how much that they must have posted and how long they've been doing this to get to that level. So that's interesting to think about because it's like it's a whole journey, which is all about, yeah, it's all about consistency in the end. And that's, I've almost actually thought about it. It's kind of interesting that if I ever want to have like some kind of slogan or something that I can like identify with, or that when people think about that sentence they think about me, not that I'm that big, but if it could be anything, I do want to say it's that it would be, it's all about consistency. Like me and my wife are, yeah, like joking a little because I always mention it her, and then when I give like not a rant, but like I think she should do this and then we should do this in general in our lives, and then I always kind of like wrap it up and, yeah, summarize the whole thing, and then I'm just saying it's all about consistency. So it's like a bit of a running joke, but I am very interested in about that. The amount of people I've mentioned in earlier videos too, but who say that like don't give up, keep going. Like when you think about to quit it, then keep going, because I feel this a little bit in line with the consistency. And you probably have seen, if not the curve before of getting 1% better every day is not linear. It's like it's an exponential, because at one point, of course, wins start to stack up, knowledge starts to, yeah, accumulate, and that's a little bit the vibe or the lesson I see in it. Like you just start learning more and more. One very practical example in my own business, which I like, I've usually done meta ads and in the agency, and like more like a monthly fee, but not so much. Of course, I like people to stay, and most people stay long, but of course, people sometimes don't have the need to stay. But then I've also started doing website development, and of course, I provide them with hosting and support so they can have their website with me. There, I've seen, of course, if people have a website and I host them, I have like a monthly package built in with them. So they pay so much a month. They pay 500 kroners a month usually for like 1 hour support for free, and then, yeah, they pay for the hosting, so the website is live and backups are done, and I check for, yeah, updates. If anything needs to be done, I check just so the website is up and running basically. And there I've seen, of course, like after now a while, I have like, yeah, 15 clients. Not all pay 500, but like it starts to add up. And if I just like have double the client base of just website people, of course they pay first and foremost for the actual development, but then that reoccurring revenue is very interesting because it's, I mean, they can always leave. It's not that they can't, but it's a lot like a more annoying process to leave, because then I also have to hand over the website and do a whole lot of technical details. But like that's all a bit about the consistency and keeping the business in play and just building upon that. Like, Of course, I would rather have a lot of ad clients, but then they could also be more like, yeah, coming and going. But then this website backbone on the business is kind of like steadily growing and growing and generating like stable revenue, which is just super interesting. Even someone's that interesting where I sometimes I'm like, okay, I can offer a website for a little bit cheaper because then I can charge a stabler income long term and have this like client for like 10 years, and they pay every month. So it's very interesting to think a little bit about that. Going up over to the weekly updates. For the growth operator, we have run some very nice campaign. The lead cost per lead has been probably the best we ever had, so around $3.5. Of course, it's like a free masterclass funnel. So whenever they sign up for that, that's considered a lead, and it's free. So of course the cost is going to be low. They're actually coming some purchase too, and then we want to push them to a call. So that's kind of where we're tweaking a little bit how we can push people to the call, because then our client can actually upsell to something higher, or yeah, kind of just come in contact with them and do what she wants to do with them. So we're tweaking a little bit where we'll send people to application first, so they watch the masterclass instead of sending them straight to the low ticket offer and try to sell them. We'll do application form where people then, yeah, they'll apply, which is just a few questions, and then see if they, yeah, even have enough money or if they're like a right fit. If not, we'll send them to the same old like the same funnel we've used, so the low ticket funnel, and say, okay, you apply for a low ticket, this is a great starter product. If they sign, for example, if they seem very good lead, then we'll send them straight to a call with our client, because then she can kind of upsell her from there, and we'll know these leads are highly qualified because they fill out the right questions we want them to fill in. So it's a little bit interesting to tweak a little bit here and there. It's very nice to run ads just to see what's happening, see data, see what's coming in, see what's happening, and then you can improve from there. Because sometimes you have this whole funnel in your head and you start running ads and just things turn out different. So it's nice to actually run the ads and based on that data, go back and to the drawing board and yeah, write some things up. Agency, quite interesting thing. I've shifted software for like a month ago, and then I've always thought about how I can include my wife in the business, because yeah, it's nice to outsource cheaper than like say actual accountant. So right now I've let my wife, like I'm teaching her a little bit here and there, because this software is also new for me, so it's kind of like we're learning both at the same time, which is good, because then yeah, she can also just start trying to do things on her own and learn while, and then she can tell me, because I also don't really know. I, of course, have a lot bigger understanding of the general accounting, but this is more like what invoice belongs to what receipt belongs to what, and that's kind of like stuff she's good at and she can do for me. So that's very nice. Another interesting thing is like an old client that I ran ads for like 2 years ago, who then switched over to another agency, who then switched over to like completely different things, not even ads, but just yeah, like coupon systems and all kind of things. The ads weren't perfect, but we only ran them for 2 months, so we weren't really able to optimize. And her clinic was kind of new. It's like a med spa. So we ran ads, they were not perfect, but we got some leads in, some clients. So I thought, like, let's keep going and optimize them, but then she did want a different direction. It's just maybe 2 years ago, maybe even longer. Yeah, actually 2.5 years ago. And then suddenly now she texts, hey, you used to run ads for me, and she even said Google ads, some like a lot of other things. And it's like, no, I actually used to run Meta ads, and then we kept this conversation going from there. And then she's actually interested, and we're gonna run ads for her now. So it's kind of interesting how you can think about these old leads, these old clients that you have, and it's easy to forget how valuable they are. But in a way, often there can be a lot more like warmed up and a lot more easy to close than completely cold traffic, because these people at least know, they know you, they know about you. For example, this woman, she had my number, she just texted me out of the blue. So I also am very bad at like thinking about these older leads that are in a way quite interesting. So it's for me also good to start tracking them, and then almost like at least putting them into like a database somewhere, like a drive where you just have a list of all these people that, let's say on a Saturday where you have time, you're like, oh, let's just send them a message like how they're doing, because there's so much value in that. Like I said, maybe not all clients, of course, are going to be happy with you if you don't do good work, but like these kind of types of clients where the results weren't amazing, but they were not bad. It was just like based upon different factors why they wanted to switch. And also maybe just people who you've been in contact with and they were never a client, but they seemed interesting. Like this, I've realized they're like quite a valuable, asset to your business, and you shouldn't forget about it. And then lastly, Agape. Of course, things are not always as amazing as you think they are. So the sales were not amazing, but yeah, I got quite some sales in, which is nice. A lot, of course, friends and family that I know, but that's how it is. I talk to a lot of people. A lot of people are very interested. Actually, they see it's amazing. They are congratulating me, and that's nice to see. So a lot of family members are saying, I'll order soon," and I know there's going to be more sales coming in. So it's like it's just what it is. And then back to my quote of the day: consistency. I know if I just keep grinding at this and keep going, it's gonna be better than I can imagine probably. But it's just putting in the work and putting in actually time and effort to work on it day by day and putting in effort. A little bit repetitive what I say, but it's it's funny because it's so simple and you know what to do. But if you don't repeat it and just hammer it in, people don't stay consistent, myself included. Like if I don't remember every day, keep the work up, you just start slacking off very easily. That's just maybe a bit the human nature, and that's where I would say the difference is between the real people, successful people, but people who get stuff done and people who don't. Because it's very easy to slack off one day and then you just are in a downward spiral instead of upwards. Very easy to get into that, so I've realized that. Another quite interesting thing, I didn't write it down, but I was interviewed by the newspaper. Like it's super local, but still interesting because they saw that I launched, and then they asked if I can do it. They could do a quick interview, and I was like, yeah, why not? They said they work for like the bigger newspaper in like the not the province, but like the province. In Norway is a little different than other countries, but it's like quite interesting because there's some good reach actually, but it was actually the super local paper, which is like a sub business of the bigger one, which is still like nice. I real was a nice conversation. The guy was super nice. He also, like off record, if you can say that, started talking a bit about business in general. That he likes people who like go for it. So it was kind of like a nice little boost. So all well, quite interesting week. Definitely want to maybe this. Actually, you know what? It's just gonna I'm gonna write it for this one next week. 06 a.m. wake up every day, because this whole me filming is actually a little bit the point of it is to keep myself accountable. If I start now saying, okay, at 6 o'clock I have to wake up every day next week, and then I have to make a video reflecting back on that, it's a lot easier to stay consistent on that because you're gonna have to report on it in a way. And I've told myself this for a while now, okay, like winter arc starting and all these kind of things, and I've been a lot better, but I want to kind of like stay consistent and get a little bit even better. Some people say like, oh, but if you wake up at 5 you get so much done. 5 seems a little crazy right now, and I think I want to work towards that. But right now I'm thinking next week 6 o'clock, wake up every day, get some consistent things of what to do on like from 6 to 8, just so it's not going to be like I just wake up and do what I do now, like business, but maybe, for example, wake up 6, work 1 hour on Agape, and that's it. And then do the day how I do it now, like more business work, fulfilling that. Because that, I think, would be a little bit easier to wake up to as well. Like, okay, now I know I'm going to spend a full hour on Agape, maybe, let's say, creating content, which could be a very interesting thing to do. But anyway, next week, 6 o'clock, the whole week, waking up. So it's going to be rough, but not that rough. But I just have to go to bed on time because I am a person who needs 8 hours sleep. So going to bed at 10, waking up at 6, no problem. Nice video. I think for myself it was a little bit nice to talk about this, to be honest. And see you next week. Peace.